Hey guys, welcome to Brutes Magoots, where today I am doing a bunch of upgrades to this Jackson USA KV2 pile of skulls. This was painted by Dan Lawrence. I've had it in my collection for quite a while, but it's time to give it some love, to be honest. So I've got a bunch of upgrades I'm going to be doing to it. But one of the main things, and what the focus of this video is going to be, is the FU-Tone PMS system. PMS is a pickup mounting system. It's just their kind of little play on words. But this allows you to direct mount pickups to the body. As you can see here, I have pickup rings on this, and it's covering up this gorgeous paintwork by Dan. So I am going to try and remedy that. So let's just jump right on in. All right, guys, so let's look at the PMS system before we get installed. This is their card with their sales pitch. You know, they talk about it making a difference in tone. I doubt that, especially if you run high gain, which is what I do. You know, you start throwing a bunch of gain at a signal and you're just not, you know, whatever. But I guess it sells stuff for them, and I guess I bought it. So here are the instructions. Really straightforward. I would agree with them that the most important thing is to measure where your pickups are at currently before you dive on into this. I've installed this before, and it was kind of a pain in the butt. A lot of going back and forth to get it set to the right height. Here is one of the brass pieces. Again, these screw to the body right there, and this kind of sets, or this screws to the body. Sorry, these guys. And this guy sets the height of the pickup, and then these two is where you screw into the bar on the pickup tabs, the base plate tabs. But I remember, like, it was kind of a struggle going back and forth on all that stuff. And this stuff is, you know, pretty pricey for what it is. It is just a piece of brass. And you know, like they make no mention of you know, where this is coming from, and you know, when they don't say, which I feel like as far as like products, you're supposed to say like the country of origin, but they don't. And you know, if it was made in the U.S., you'd think they'd be super proud of that. So I have a feeling this is all just straight from China stuff. You know, that you're paying a premium for. They do give you a bunch of screws, which allows you pretty much any kind of situation that you're going to be installing a pickup in. They give you the screws for it, which I do like. So that is a nice inclusion. You're pretty much set and ready to go. All right, so everything's stripped off the guitar. It's not until you pull everything off a guitar that you see what's really lurking underneath. And these things are a mess. I mean, there is polishing compounds all throughout here, and even like just stuck on the switches and stuff. They just blasted this thing and then started throwing electronics in there. All right, guys, so as far as the PMS system, the first thing that I like to do is I elongate these two mounting positions by a couple millimeters on each side. And what that does is that allows me to, once I drill into the body on the position, if that cavity is somewhat off as far as string spacing or whatever, even if you center it in the cavity is what I'm saying, sometimes it can be off and you need to reposition it. And unfortunately, you can't do that if it's just has these fixed points. You can't move it over just like a millimeter or two in either direction. So I like to do this, and that allows me to do that. And then I don't worry about it elongating anything in that direction because it's always parallel with the cavity. I just worry about side to side movement. So this kind of allows you to adjust it if needed. All right, so those are all widened out, and then what I do now is I'll replace the end mill bit with this countersink, and I'll run the countersink the length of the width. So that'll be all uniform. Alrighty, and just like that, we're done. It's nice and clean. Okay, so now we're ready for installation, and just to speed up the process, I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do, and then I'm just going to time lapse it. But the first thing I need to do, and you guys might find yourself in the same situation, is I need to go ahead and wire up the guitar, at least get the wires all routed through the body, because once the pickup is mounted in there, it gets very difficult to do that. So you may be in that situation. If you are, definitely try and plan ahead. So like I have this really high grade shielded output wire that I'm going to try to get through there. If not, then I'll just do this standard. I think this is like a 24 gauge. But for this guitar, like it goes all the way through here and then all the way back out through here. So I need to do that first before I do anything. Then we're going to install these. And the most crucial thing is to be sure that you take the time to measure and draw out exactly where you're going to mark out your holes and then drill those out and then install it. Take your time so everything is straight. Then once it's installed, you can see how I have these holes elongated for the future if I need it. But I'm just going to install it where they're center, where the screws are dropped in their center. And then going off of the height that you measured earlier, we're going to install a screw here in the center, one of the big slugs, and that'll set the basic height of the pickup. So you need to pick out, they give you 3 different sizes. So put those in and then measure accordingly off the body to the top of the pickup. And then once you've done that, then you install the normal mounting screws. Now for this, what I've done is drilled out those holes on the side because I'm going to use them as through holes since I'm screwing into the PMS system. And they include screws, like different size screws for that, but I'm going to use gold hardware, so I'm going to use these and I'll just cut them down to the height that I need. And that should be it. But unfortunately, the bad thing is that you won't know if everything is perfectly lined up unless, or until I should say, the pickup is already mounted there and you have at least the high and low E strings in place. And then you kind of need to unscrew everything again and move and reposition and tighten it back down. So hopefully, ideally, you nail it on the first try. All right, so I've run into exactly what I was telling you guys about. And this guitar, on a side note, has just fought me all the way during this whole rebuild process. This is a Jackson U.S.A. guitar, and you can see how off-center the pickup routes are. So like the pickups are dead nut center of the routes, but look how far over this dude is. And I know that they're center because visually they're center, but it's actually like the routing is the width of the pickup and the tabs. So this direction, there's no slack in there as far as moving it side to side. And you can see how off this freaking thing is. And we'll just line up here with the neck and see where the poles are. And then we'll go over here, line it up with the other side of the neck. Look at that. Look how far off that is. So I'm going to have to figure out some kind of way of moving this over. The problem is that I'm not going to have much tab left. I'm going to have to like shave down the end of the PMS system and the mounting tab for the pickup. And another side note is the last time I used these guys, it was a top mounted Floyd. And since this is a recessed Floyd, measuring my height, just with this, I don't even have a screw on here. It's like literally down on the PMS system. And I'm already taller than I would like to be by like 0.5 millimeter. So I feel like when they make these things, that notch down where the pickup plate meets, it really needs to be routed lower for applications where you're mounting a recessed, because I can't drop any lower than what it is unless I machine that down, which I can, but anyway, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do. All right, so figure out what I'm gonna do. I took down the face on these dudes right here and here, so I can drop the height of the bridge pickup, and then I went ahead and cut the screws down as well. And then this dude I just took off just like the edge here. And then I came in on this pocket just a little bit to allow me to go over some more. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily throw on the bridge because I still need to do work to the bridge. And then the nut, and just run the high and low E's and set my position so I know I'm accurate. What a pain in the ass though. All right, so finally they are in. It was kind of a pain in the butt. This thing's been fighting me all the way, but pickups are mounted. The major thing to note, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but that center post that goes up in the middle, since that is putting pressure on the center of the back plate, make sure that you don't over tighten the two mounting tabs on the back plate, or else you'll actually start to buckle that back plate on that on the pickup, and that's no good. So just tighten them down where they're snug and just leave it. All right guys, so here is everything all populated on the guitar. You can see the PMS system down in there. And after I got everything together, it looks pretty dead nut straight. The bridge, I feel, can move up to the low B side or low E side, just a hair, but I mean honestly, it's pretty darn close. All right, guys. So final thoughts on the PMS system. I mean, it works. It does its thing. I needed to modify mine to get it to fit with a recessed trim, at least in this guitar. So you may find that. I kind of wish that it was dropped down more, but you know, whatever. And then I had the stupid problems with this guitar with it not being straight. And again, like, you really need to take your time. The main thing about these is take your time and make sure you're measuring and you're drilling holes in the right place, or you're going to have a real bad time. You can't trust guitars, especially, I mean, this is a U.S.A. guitar and it's not straight, technically speaking. You know, once you go from here to here, that's going to be straight, but the pockets to the neck, that can be misaligned a surprising amount of time. So anyway, just keep that in mind when you're doing it, and just make sure, kind of like I did in the video, that, you know, as you're going along, things are going to line up where you want them to be before you start drilling holes. But other than that, they do work. They work well. Did they make a difference in tone? I mean, look, I don't think so. There might be people out there who will swear by the fact that they make, you know, a difference in tone. I don't see how, especially when you're running high levels of gain. I think that's all just marketing, but it does allow you to, you know, mount these pickups directly, where if you had like a situation where you had a pickup ring before. So it really worked out for me because I wanted to get rid of those rings so that you could see the Dan Lawrence Pile of Skulls paint job on there, and like I was able to plug the holes on here and then paint them, and then I put resin over there and then polished it all back down. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So yeah, like for my application, they worked out good. So as always, feel free to leave me any questions and I'll be happy to answer them. And until next time, I will see you guys later.
I believe I have made a significant find in the Kandarian ruins, a volume of ancient Sumerian burial practices and funerary incantations. It is entitled Naturam Dimanto, roughly translated Book of the Dead. The book is bound in human flesh and inked in human blood.